Hi, my friends. It's just Kim. How are you today? I think there's a funny thing on my lens there. I'm going to take that off. So anyway, I'm coming to you live today. I know it's Sunday. I hope you guys are enjoying your weekend or had a great weekend and that your Sunday's nice and relaxing or very eventful, whichever one you want. But I'm coming to you today because those of you who have followed me, some of you for years, some of you are brand new. I have 10,000 new followers. If you know my story, which is kind of a crazy one, but over the last several days, many of you have reached out to me privately about suggestions for Zach because we've been going through such a hard time with him and his anger issues, him yelling and not being able to, he just doesn't want to be with anybody. He doesn't want to do anything. I really appreciate that, guys. I don't get offended, believe me. I take all suggestions. I am grateful. I am so grateful for you that watch and care enough about us to message me about ideas. Because, you know, I have a lot on my mind. I mean, there's things I miss. So if you have ideas and stuff, I'm there for you. But over the last year and a half, you know, Zach was always such a happy guy. And even though he has severe brain damage and he can't use his body, he still was happy. He liked being around people. He loved music. He loved comedies. He loved to play games. He loved to be outside and go have fun and do things. And about 18, maybe 20 months ago, all of that started changing. And he started getting very grumpy and started getting very upset about noises and started not wanting to be around people, didn't want to get out of bed, didn't want to do anything. And all that's very concerning and very sad, but because his disease is so bizarre and so rare, nobody has answers for it. So in about the last few months, things have escalated. He's gotten much, much worse and much more. I mean, you look at his face and it's like fear. Fear is in his face. And so over the last 6 months, I've taken him to 3 hospitals, 3 doctors, and it's been very, very frustrating because they have ignored me. They literally have not listened to me at all, which I'm not a stranger to because that's how I lost my other son, was because they would not listen to me. So I'm a research crazy person. I research, and I constantly am researching stuff. So when I went to the hospitals and I went to the doctors, I kept saying, it's like he has Superman hearing everything. I mean, if I go in the kitchen and I do that, he will scream at me and he gets so upset, and then he gets what we call gray, where he just won't even participate or talk or do anything. So after we went to his GP, who had no idea, he referred him to a neurologist who never called us back. We then went to a hospital here locally, and they were rude, horrible. It was an awful experience. We left there, and I decided to throw him in the car and take him to the Mayo Clinic over in Jacksonville. And we got to the Mayo Clinic, and they refused to listen to what I was saying. First off, they just kept saying, he's just too rare, Kim. We've never seen anyone like him. Even though they've seen people with Marburg, they had never seen anyone like him. And I kept saying, he's got Superman hearing. Something is going on, because no matter what is happening, everything upsets him that he hears. And that's the only time he gets upset. And then it will last for hours. So anyway, long story short, I actually was watching a video a few nights ago, strangely enough, of a clip from Grey's Anatomy, which I never watched Grey's Anatomy. But something about the gal who came in there, she was brought in because her parents were taking her back to a mental institution to get her help. And she had escaped somehow and got into this hospital. It wasn't the whole show, so I only saw part of it. But the look that they had in her eyes on that, it reminded me one of my son that I lost, who was misdiagnosed. And then it also reminded me of how Zach looks after he gets so scared when he hears the dogs bark or he hears somebody put down something or thunder or something like that happens, which he was never afraid of that stuff before. I mean, the kid has always loved music. He doesn't even want to hear music now at this point. So I found out what it was that she had, and amazingly, guess what? That's what Zach has. It's extremely rare. And in some people, it's completely debilitating. Some people with it who have, they can't go to work, they can't go to school, they can't do anything because the noise is so harsh. It's like somebody stabbing you in the head with an ice pick, which is, like I said, I read through article after article after article, and every one of them, it was Zach to a T. And it's called and I'm going to say it wrong, even though I've heard it, I've listened to videos and doctors, Hyperacusis. And it's an ear thing. And it's like I said, when they hear noise, it's like they're being stabbed in the head with an ice pick. Not everyone, some people have mild cases of it, But those who have the severe cases like Zach has, it creates huge fear, anxiety, depression, all these things he's had going on. Anger, isolation. I mean, it described him to an absolute T. And it pisses me off because every doctor I went to, I kept saying it's like he has Superman hearing. And you know what the description of that is? Superman hearing. So it's so frustrating to me, but I am so excited. I almost feel like today this huge blanket has been lifted off of me because I now know what it is. I now know what's happening to him because I had no idea what was happening to him during these episodes that would last for hours and hours and hours. Today I know. So today he has been, see what was kind of going on too is Zach always loves comedies. He's a huge fan of Golden Girls, loves Friends, loves Seinfeld as his very best fave. And so, but he would lay or sit and scream at the TV. And I didn't realize it was like when they were slamming doors or if they'd get mad at each other or yell or if something would drop or if a horn would honk or he'd hear a dog on TV bark. So he's so hypersensitive to these hearings. What I read is they don't think they really have Superman, that they can't really hear better, but for some reason it triggers something with the brain. And the people that well, I'll go back to that. Anyway, so we can't even play those shows for him because they upset him so bad now. Music, you know, the kid always loved music, but we're noticing that he would just get angry when we turn the music on. So now we're going to be very selective about the music that we're hearing, that he's hearing. But it's one of those things where for us, this is like a huge light going on because now we know how to deal with it. They can't wear headphones all the time because apparently it makes it worse. So, but we can wear headphones when we go out in public. So that is what we are going to do now so that he doesn't hear those noises coming. Like when I took him to the store the other day, we walked down there. He did great. He had a fabulous time, had a good time, till a dog barked, until a guy dropped, and then I got him calmed down. We got to the store, and then somebody dropped something, and he just went through the roof, and just, I'm going to kill you, and he just screamed and got very upset, and F you, and blah, 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 blah. And it was the noise of the dropping. And so I feel such a huge bit of relief today because I finally have ideas and things that I can work with to help improve his quality of life. And the most heartwarming, amazing thing for me today is I went in to ask him what he wanted from the store, and he actually told me something. He hasn't done that in months. The last few months, every time I go in there, he just yells at me. Or if I, it's just been very hard. I also asked him what he wanted for dinner, and he actually told me what he wanted for dinner. Because the last several months, like I said, if I ask him, he will just tell me, I don't know, I can't remember, leave me alone. Today has been this humongous breakthrough for us, and I'm just feeling like this cloud. There's going to be some major changes with this. We're not a loud family. I mean, there's 3 of us here, but even the little noises of putting glasses down, doing the dishes, doing those things are very alarming to him. So we've now got some tools. And today I've left him in bed today, and he has been watching a video of beautiful, beautiful, beautiful sceneries from all over the world, down in the ocean. And it runs for hours and hours and hours. But he's so happy. And I just can't even tell you guys what it's like for us to be going through this right now because we just have not seen this in so long. This is the longest time he's been happy in a very long time. And I just discovered all of this stuff early this morning when I was up researching that the big light went on. The big light went on. I know what it is now, and I know how we're going to deal with it. And it's called Hyperacusis. I'm sorry. I'll have it down pat here pretty soon. But if, I think of a lot of people who are also suffering like being diagnosed with mental illness because of their depression and anxiety. If, they may have the same thing. I mean, I'm just telling you, don't believe everything your doctors tell you. And if your gut tells you it's something else, keep looking. And it's probably not going to be found in a doctor's office, because I have found this with 4 different wrong diagnoses now. It's just kind of mind-boggling to me. They just don't know us or our kids or our families like we do. And we have to take the symptoms that we know. I thank God for the internet, because it really has been a life-changing thing for me, because I've had to do so much research with all the illnesses and stuff that we have. And these tools weren't available for us years ago. And like I said, when Zach first got sick, 14 and a half years ago, there was nothing. out there about his disease. And the doctors didn't know anything because it's so rare. And so this is another rare one. It's not as rare as his Marburg, but at least now I feel very hopeful that we're going to be able to, keep him happier. I'm so optimistic now. I feel so good about it. And again, for those of you who have reached out to me and your blessings and your ideas and suggestions, I mean, it means the world to me that you care. It really, really does. And don't ever feel that you're going to offend me, because that's really a very hard thing to do. I do not get offended easy. I put our story out there because my hope is to help other people. All the stories from my son to Chet's to Zach's, their stories are out there because other people are suffering. Other people are being misdiagnosed. Other people are having issues. Other people can't find solutions for the issues they are being diagnosed with because they're only being fed pharmaceuticals. The nice thing about all this with this new diagnosis with Zach, and yes, I'm not a doctor, but you know what? Like my sister said this morning, I research for hours all the time. I am constantly researching things. And I know when I take this to his GP, he's going to agree with me 1,000%. The nice thing is that now I'm going to go ahead and keep him on the medication that we did get him on, because I was being told it was absolutely depression. It was absolutely anxiety. And yes, it is. It is from his Hyperacusis because it's creating that fear and anxiety in him. And when you look in that poor man's eyes and see that fear, it's been heartbreaking, you guys. I mean, it's really been gut-wrenching to have to watch this whole process happen. And it's like I said, it started about 18 months ago, and it's just gotten progressively worse and worse and worse too. And now it's been a horrible last several months. But I feel like we're on a good note to be able to start getting out and doing more things with him, and to be able to start having him be happier. Already his communication today has already shown that we're on the right track. His articulation. Zach has dementia. Zach has aphasia. He cannot formulate certain sentences. He has no memory from the time he was 26 to now he's 40. And he really doesn't remember what happened yesterday. Even the last few years of his 20s before he got sick, he doesn't really remember them. When you ask him how old he is, he'll tell you he's 21, forever 21, I guess. That was a fun time for him. But anyway, I'm sending that out there, telling you guys, please do your research. Do not accept what the doctors say. Do not, God love them, they go through a hell of a lot of school. I know my niece who is a doctor is going through hell in her final year. It's so much schooling, but you got to remember the pharmaceutical companies pay for that, a lot of those schools. And, it's like the castor oil. Castor oil should have been told to us 14 years ago for Zach, because it has saved his bowels. It has saved his gut. Yet we didn't find out about it till it was on social media. And that to me is sad. And we live in a society that is on all kinds of medication. And I just urge you to look farther. My hope is now, like I said, I'm going to leave Zach on the medication through this week, and then I'm going to start to wean him off of it. I don't want to do anything drastic to him. He's already been on it now for a couple months, and it would be cruel to just take him right off of it. I'm just hoping that as we have learned with this new music that we're doing and this new kind of therapy that I've been reading about, that we are going to be able to see some huge and wonderful things for us. And I, again, thank you all for your blessings. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep on here too long, but I just am so excited today to finally have an answer that I've been looking for. Again, it brings back the anger that I get, that I kept telling these doctors, about the hearing thing, and I felt it was connected, and they refused to even look at it. They never once even touched his ears. This is the really crazy thing, is that in all these 3 hospitals, okay, over the last 6 months, do you know that the only doctor who has touched him, and that's just to shake his hand, is his GP. Mayo Clinic, they didn't touch him. They didn't touch him. They didn't look at him. They didn't assess. They didn't do any of that at the hospital here in town. They did not touch him. They did not touch him. And to me, this is just a travesty. And I'm trying to figure out, how do you help somebody if you don't make some sort of a connection or some sort of an examination, or to look at a person and look at them as a whole person instead of just the disease that they are. But they basically just looked at him as a disabled person, and, he's constipated. I heard that. Anyway, I'm not going to keep rambling, guys. I just want you to know how much I appreciate you, and I appreciate that you listen to me, and I hope I help somebody once in a while. I know I do because I get messages that I've helped somebody. So I'm going to keep doing it, and I'm going to keep you posted on how our journey is going to get Zach. Like I said, it's not curable, but it's manageable. So now that we know what we're dealing with, we're going to manage it, and we are going to have some good times. And I appreciate you guys tagging along with us. You have a wonderful Sunday evening, and I love y'all. Thank you, guys. Bye.